Good morning and welcome to Wake and Bake on Monday, 2/28/2022. Can y'all believe that it is already March? I mean, honestly, can you believe that? Because I can't. So good morning, good morning, good morning. Don't forget, as you jump on here, as always, I am going to ask you to do me a couple of favors. If you're watching live, please do me a favor. Even if you're not watching live, say hello and tell me where you're watching from. I am live in a couple of places, so I'm not sure where you're joining us. So if you could tell me where you're joining me from as well, whether you're live in Facebook or you are watching us on the YouTube channel. If you're watching on Facebook, I'm going to ask that you please go find me on YouTube. Give that a like and subscribe. I'm trying to grow the following on YouTube because I feel like we're missing some people that we should be reaching with our message. So today is Monday, the 28th of 2022. I cannot even believe that tomorrow is going to be March. I don't know why, but I can't. I feel like it was Christmas and I looked up and it's St. Patrick's Day. I'm like, what in the world, right? If you're feeling that way as well, tell me below, what always seems like the shortest time to you? Like for me, it always seems like summer is short, and it always seems like whenever you hit the fall, it seems like that's kind of a whirlwind of blink, it's Halloween, blink, it's Thanksgiving, blink, it's Christmas. And it kind of, I guess, is. But it is Monday morning. It is 9:02 a.m. It is time for the Wake and Bake mornings. It is one of our weekly live shows. Something just dinged on my watch. Let's see. Another live, not anything I have to be concerned about. But I did not want to get up this morning. I don't know about y'all, but I had a really shitty evening. Just I have sometimes, and y'all know because I help y'all with this, right? And I want to be 100% transparent. I have to start making myself an order for the weekends. I have to start. We talked about this weekend a lot about practicing what you preach, right? Practice what you preach, right? And one of the things that I noticed is that last week when I had my night edible, I slept through the night. I had good energy the next day. I felt so much better. But Friday, I sold out of everything. And today I'm making butter and making cakes and trying to catch up. If you placed an order, good morning. If you placed an order afternoon on Friday, and I do mean after 12 noon, I don't look at the order form again until Monday morning at 10. That's when I'm trying to take that break. And y'all know I've talked about that before, right? And so I did not have anything edible wise for the weekend. I didn't have anything at all in there. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I did not have anything available for myself this weekend. So I paid for that. I tossed and turned all weekend. And sometimes I'm I'm going to try to be tough and I'm not going to need anything and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, nope. It's there for a reason. Physician, heal thyself, right? Heal thyself. Stop having these terrible nights because you are too lazy to make sure that you have things that you need. I make sure that everybody else has got their packages so they can sleep and not hurt and all the things. And here I am, right? Here I am, not sleeping and hurting all night. So I am going to consult myself today and give myself a little cannabis concierge service. And we are going to figure out a plan for this chick, right? This chick needs a plan for herself, and I'm going to work one out. So good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm not sure who this is. For some reason, my spidey senses is saying that it's Lisa Phillips, but I'm not sure if it is or not. I'm going to go in here and look. It could be a million to one people that don't have their name. But for some reason, I felt like it was Lisa Phillips. I don't know. Let's see. I gotta find my live, and then I have to see. Good morning, Dennis. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Who is it? Let's see if I was right. No, it's Brenda. Good morning, Brenda. So sorry, I thought it was somebody else. So if you can give Facebook permission to see your name, that'd be great. Um, Now, I want to also, you don't take care of us if you don't take care. I know. I just, like I said, I was really like, usually I have like leftovers, like the things that are onesie twosies. Like I'll have like one extra brownie, or I'll have one extra cookie, or a couple extra cookies, or somebody will abandon their order. And that's normally when I was like, somebody didn't pay for their order, and I'll like go pop something. I'm like, okay, well, I got gummies now. Um, so it's just one of those things. Like, yeah, I completely know, and I agree with that. And I thank you for reminding me of that, Heather, because that's what we're here to do, right? It goes both ways. Y'all help me as much as I help y'all, so that is a good thing. But yeah, I had a little tough, tough pain night last night, and I had like weird leg cramping and all kinds of just. It was one of those nights. But chugged some water, took some Advil, rubbed on some topical cannabis in the form of CBD, and I finally went to sleep. It's also because of the duality of the business, right? So a lot of the people, like I talk about the duality, and that is the thing that kind of sets Hometown Hippie apart from other edible companies, right? Is the duality of the business. So just like we understand the healing properties of the endocannabinoid system and the cannabis and how it responds to your body, we also know that there is the endocannabinoid system is the master system that connects the mind and body, right? It connects the mind and body. So what it allows you to do, right? It allows you to fire at higher more synapses, or you have more of an open pathway to your neurotransmitters, because that's what it is, right? So the endocannabinoid system are kind of like molecules that basically open up and allow the neurotransmitters to kind of work in a different way, right? It slows your brain down and allows you to open up those neurotransmitters, and the things kind of process differently. So um, I got up last night, right? And so I used the duality of my business. I didn't have a cookie to use. I did have flour, so I did use cannabis in that way. And I had some tincture, so because I use tincture to make things. So I did some tincture. And I was like, let me stop and pattern interrupt this pain, right? Let me call in light energy. Let me call my angels, guides, and helpers in and have them to then do what cannabis could not. But what I couldn't do was to stop and commune with my spirit team, stop and ask for the help, because I was too caught up in the pain before I used the flower, right? So again, it talks about the duality of how the elevated edibles is here as a healing modality or as a healing method. And that method for healing may just be that you had a really shitty day, and today you just need to catch a buzz. And a brownie's just going to make you smile and happy, right? I have couples that are utilizing edibles to reconnect intimately, right? Maybe they've had a little bit of arguing and fussing and fighting, and they're trying to move back into that realm, but the intimacy block is still there. So being able to partake together and kind of just like I've some chocolates, and I've talked about some ways to do that, right? Ways to good morning, to utilize cannabis for whatever ails you, and here's the plan on how to use it. So a lot of times I try to work with people. Now there's people who place an order and know exactly what they want, but when you fill in the spot that says what are you utilizing cannabis for, and you're telling me that you have chronic severe pain, that you are not sleeping, and the only thing on your order form is gummies, I'm going to tell you to stop and let's reevaluate, because gummies are our lowest milligram thing. And I agree that that's a great place to start. You can build up to see what you need and what's going to actually take away the pain. But if you have excruciating pain, then usually it's going to take something a little tiny bit stronger, right? It's kind of like trying to take away surgery pain with an Advil. You might need four. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say that I ask you, and that's a lot of times like I ask why. But as you are continuing to refill your orders, or you are getting new things, if you are changing up the reason, or you have like a specific thing that you're hoping that this new treat will fix, put that on the order form. But if you are someone who knows what you want and you order over and over and over again, you do not have to fill out the entire form, just your name, whether or not you're going to pick up or ship, how you want to pay, any notes or whatever, and then your orders. You don't have to fill out every single thing again. I've got to do better about that. I'm trying to get an online store, but y'all, it's just to try to get all the things done. That's one of those things. It's just like it's a project, and it's not about, um, you know, I'm sure it can be done. It's just having the time to do it, and things are working. So if it's not, we're just going to progress better than perfection. Every week, every month, every day, we're getting better at the next thing, right? So this person says, my back's still going to hurt after a caramel, but man, higher milligram definitely helps take away that pain. Yeah. So that's the thing, right? That is the big thing, is that you have to find the right dosing, and that's what I'm here to do. And again, if you're brand new into cannabis and you have like, I want to try it, then yeah, let's start with 5. We could add on to the gummies and kind of create a plan, and that's like my lowest dose. That's kind of how I start to dose it. But some of y'all know what you need, and some of y'all want to start with 20. And I know because of I know some of y'all, and I know for me, right, at my body size, I need more. I need more milligrams for me. But that is also, someone who has been utilizing cannabis for not quite 30 years. Because strangely enough, I was one of those 1980s kids who was like really believed in the DARE program, and like was actually in I was a student mentor from high school to elementary and middle school kids. And the program was called SODA. It was called Students Organized for Developing Attitudes. And we would go into the elementary and middle school and talk to kids about making better choices than like drugs and things, right? And I remember going for the training for that. The police showed up and they brought in like this like suitcase. It was like their like drug prevention program, and they were bringing in this like metal box. They opened it up. It looks like one of those movie, like the ones where like the bomb code is in the silver plated with the little like things on it. And they opened it up, and it was like all these little like things, and it showed you like it was drugs of like different kinds that had been confiscated. And he had it like handcuffed to his arm, and it was like a whole production. And we were joking. I was like, I'm in this group called Students Organized for Developing Attitude, and I was a senior in high school. And I can honestly 1,000,000% say, as a junior or senior in high school, I had drank, I had smoked cigarettes, and I had seen those things. I had smelled marijuana. Like I had smelled people smoking marijuana. But at that age, I had never, ever, ever seen pot. Like I had never seen drugs in their real life form. Like I'd never, like my parents were not pot users. They just weren't. My dad was still straight laced. I had never, it was 10 years and then some, really started smoking after basic training because my poor back wouldn't let me let up on the pain. Yeah. And see, so here's the thing, right? I just wasn't around it ever. And then I went to college and I drank, and I made and I drank through high school. And my parents were not like, I get a slap on the wrist if I get caught drinking, but it wasn't that big of a deal. But my dad acted like pot was going to make me the worst person in the entire world. It was a whole stigma, right? And I had never seen drugs until they opened up this suitcase. And I was like, well, they don't look as scary as I thought they would look, because I'm like, there's no like, and that's the thing. Like, that's when I knew right then. I'm like, And I got really interested in learning more about it because, funny enough, the kids that we were going and talking to, they knew in middle and elementary school, these kids had more of a street smarts about it than I did, and me and my other friends. We were just in that weird window, right? I graduated in 92. And it was like the kids the year behind us were wide open, potheads, all the things. But my group of kids that I hung out with, we were athletes and student leaders, and we just weren't around it. Now, we were all on our way to being like teenage alcoholics. We were party animals. We partied our faces off. We would drink Boone's Farm, and we'd steal bourbon and from our parents and stuff. We were drinkers, and we thought that was the right thing to do. And I look back at it in college when I was introduced. I had no idea where we were going with this today at all, but here we are. It's never my choice, right? And when I got to college, I had friends who smoked pot, and it was like they were the people that I thought were so fun, like because in 92, y'all have to understand, if you're not of my age, if you're my age or you understand like that age, right? such a bad stigma. Mom even smokes now after it became legal. She didn't want to because it was illegal. My mom's going to Woodstock as a kid and strict adult was weird. Yeah, I got you. I saw that now. Yeah, so here's the interesting thing. So a lot of kids who grew up with it were like the kids who grew up in the 70s, right? My mom and dad were like graduated in 72 and 74, right? That's the years they would have graduated high school. And they grew up in the 60s. And my dad grew up and my mom both grew up in very strict households. They were never around it at all. But I knew people who did, who grew up with hippies. And because they grew up with hippies, they were embarrassed by their parents. They did not want that lifestyle. They did not want that lifestyle because it wasn't for them, right? That wasn't what people were that wasn't what the society was showing us was normal, right? In that day and age, the things that you wanted to be was like a little Michael P. Keaton, like a little young Republican. You didn't want to get in trouble. It was just a stigma around it, and it was just how like everything else in this world is perpetuated by legend, right? It's perpetuated by TV and media and all the stuff. And I know where it came from. When I got to college, I met people, right? I met new people. You get exposed to things that you would not have been exposed to in your little rural Virginia town, right? And, I thought I was like, okay, at least I'm going to college and I know what things look like, so I'll know what to stay away from. And I met kids who were in college because here's the thing. Also, I was taught that if you did pot or you did drugs, you were stupid and you were never going to make it in college. You were going to like be crazy, right? It couldn't work. You didn't go to college. And I met kids who were like the kids who were like my speed, like the kind and not like the fraternity boy drinkers. And if you're, as I say, if you're in like 92 and that age, you knew as a female growing up, like you didn't want to hang around with the boys that like pounded Bush Light because you knew it was going to happen because it happened to me. Right. All of the bad things, all of the bad choices, all of the bad situations, all of those things where I didn't feel safe were always as a result of drinking alcohol. And that was okay with everybody, right? That made me a good college student, a normal person going to college, right? Smart person. But all of the bad things, all of the times when my stomach was in my throat, all of the times when as a kid I did not know to listen to my intuition, to not do and to get out of those situations, and I did not pay attention, and things that I did not want to happen, or I saw things happen that I didn't want to see happen. Those things happened with alcohol. Just they did. And then because you see bad things with alcohol and you think that alcohol is your way, what do? You escape more into alcohol, right? You escape more into alcohol. And my sophomore year of college, thinking that all of the bad things that I had happened during alcohol, and alcohol was no longer numbing it enough, right? And alcohol was no longer numbing it enough. And I'm just being honest. This is one of those things we get real, right? I didn't know we were going to go here today. At all, like none, zero, zilch. Like I have something on this screen over here we're going to talk about today, and it is not this, but holy shit, this is what's coming out, right? Whew, I don't know why I got real nervous about this. Never liked the morning after drinking, didn't have true hangovers, but it was like I'm out of my body feeling the first couple of hours. Well, here's the thing. I would take mixed drinks in my water bottle, and we didn't have Hydro Flask. We had old school like bendy straw, like the just water bottles from like King's Dominion or whatever, right? I would take screwdrivers to my classes at night because whenever you make mistakes on alcohol, right? When you start making those bad college mistakes on alcohol, right? Those ones where you give up more of your power than you ever wanted to give up to anybody, and you don't remember giving it up and it keeps happening, right? You try to dull that pain, right? You try to numb that pain. And when you've been told your whole life, when you've been told your entire life, right, that drugs are bad and drugs will make you forget, and you're only like, well, alcohol's not doing it. Let's go ahead and see what these things will do, because you're trying to self-destruct. Right? Alcohol will make you self-destruct. Alcohol will make you look for things that'll make you hurt yourself, right? And I decided sure, I'll smoke pot, right? And I liked it, but it didn't do what I wanted it to do. It didn't do what I wanted it to do. It wasn't the devil's lettuce. It opened up my mind and made me think about things. I did not like that. So I went on another self-destructive blitz. Another big self-destructive blitz. Now, when you hear that cannabis is a gateway drug, right? I'm going to tell you the only reason that cannabis is a gateway drug to things that are harder. It's because for the prohibition on marijuana, the prohibition on cannabis, put cannabis into the back alleys, put cannabis into the hands of the crack dealers and the cocaine dealers and the methamphetamine dealers. Because if you're a drug dealer, a drug is a drug, right? And because all of those things, and I didn't do, I'm going to be blatantly honest, okay? Blatantly honest. Through college, through the probably my last 2 years of college, my drugs of choice were always going to be alcohol, because I had to have that to be able to function. It was always going to be alcohol and cocaine. I loved cocaine. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. I was talkative. I didn't care. Everything was numbed. And pot was used to be able to rebound from a 4-day binge, right? Pot was like what got me to sleep after all the things happened, right? And then came home and went to the restaurant industry, and then got to a place where it was just like, you know what? I'm going to forgive myself. I'm going to forgive myself, and I'm going to turn over a new leaf and let me get my shit together. Because you can't stay on that regimen of, Bud Light or Busch Light or Miller Light, light beer, cocaine, and French fries for long. It will put your body in check. And the 2 weeks after I graduated college, yeah, me too, girlfriend. Me too. I am actually 17 years. It's been 17 years since this girl, 17 years since I have touched anything other than cannabis. 17 years since I've touched anything other than cannabis. I will have the occasional glass of wine. I'm not saying alcohol, but as far as any kind of like substance abuse, and alcohol is substance abuse. I'd stopped that pretty. I don't know. I just did. I just kind of once I had to like not own a bar, because I own bars and restaurants, right? So once I had to start paying for alcohol, I was like, that's expensive, right? And I was always one of those people who my bills have always been paid, right? I never didn't pay my bills to go buy drugs. I never stole to go buy drugs. It was never like that. It was how I got through the day. It was how I worked, right? It was not like, and I would have some weekends where it was like, all right, let's do 2 8-balls, we're partying this weekend. But cannabis was the only reason that I ever, and it was honestly, I didn't go for pot. Pot didn't work. My friend had it, but I wanted something stronger, right? I wanted to I wanted to numb all the things that alcohol did to me. Now, when I started utilizing just cannabis, right? And people's like, you're a pothead, you're this, you're that. I'm like, you don't know. And I think that's why people who, that's why it's so hard to kind of like rebound. Yes, and that's the thing, Heather, and that's it, right? I was bartending. I owned bars. I was a party girl. I was in the restaurant business. And, if you were in the restaurant business, it's just there. And, when you're working doubles and catering and your body hurts, your body hurts. But the year I graduated college, and I'm not going to say that certain things woke me up to it, but when Red and I went to Jamaica for our wedding moon, we eloped to Jamaica. We ended up getting married when we came back here. Another whole story for another day. But when we got married, we were partying a little bit. Like, it was here and there. It wasn't everywhere, but it was around, and it wasn't like we were going to say no to it, right? We paid our bills. We took care of business. We did our thing. And it wasn't like we were actively seeking it or buying it on a weekly basis. But if we were at a party and somebody offered us some, we would, sure, let's do this, right? It was just party, right? Yes, feeding the water for anything you want. But we said to ourselves, people are like, when are you going to grow up? I'm like, well, we're 30. So when I got married, I said, hey, here's the thing. When I decided to settle down and be a wife and him to be a husband, I said, here's the thing. And we were also in the thing where, we didn't do it often. It was very rarely. And we wanted to have custody of his kids and go and, we were ready to do different things. And it was getting old. It was just getting old. And I'm like, it's just silly. We want to have things. And here's some places where money is just leaking. And when you do something for long enough, it starts to wear on you, right? And luckily enough that we have strong enough spirit teams and support teams and all that, that we were able to pretty easily just say, okay, we're done. And we were pretty much done. It was just like saying no. And so I'm very, very, very grateful that I did not get that addictive. I'm pretty much a solid person when it comes to just saying no to something, right? If I set my mind to something and I make a decision, I'm pretty steadfast in it when I've truly made the decision. And that was one of those things where I had truly made that decision. Like when I decided we were going to get married and things were going to move forward, we had a discussion like, hey, our honeymoons are a big last hurrah. And then we agreed just pot. Like it is only pot. That is the only thing that we're going to, that's like cheating, beating, and drugs are kind of a divorceable offense with us. We've kind of talked about that. So, looking back on it, we are always trying and trying and trying to either self-destruct or help. I mean, our body tells us what it needs, right? And it never tells us we need those bad things. But sometimes because we are not able to stop. And what I was able to do, and what I think really a lot of people that give that stuff up are able to do is that you're able to stop and see it from a different perspective. Yes, that's what it was. When I needed it to function, it changed the whole narrative to change. So when I needed it to function, it did change the narrative. And I realized, I'm like, if I stay in this environment, right? If I stay in this environment, then it's going to always be something that I feel like I need because it's what I know. I grew up owning restaurants, right? I grew up owning restaurants and all the things. And in that business with catering and running, and somebody's always got something, and people at the bar will always give you that. I left the restaurant industry, right? I was like, hey, I need to make sure that this is just a situational thing, not a Tammy all the time thing. And I left the restaurant business and got into the insurance business, right? And that was one of the things, like, I think that was one of the biggest arguments, maybe, coming back here, me saying, I really want to own a restaurant again. And he's like, do you really? And I'm like, no. He's like, well, you're going to be dealing with all of those people, all of those kitchen staff and all those waitresses, right, that are going to be 20 somethings and are going to be living that part of their life. And you can't tell them they're not going to listen to you. And it's going to hurt your feelings, as you know. And as empathic as I am at this age, I don't know how it, like I know, like I have neat little cousins and stuff, and my niece and nephews work in restaurants right now. And it's the most hyper aware thing I'm aware of. And I'm like, I pay attention to signs and I look for things. And I'm like, you can smell like restaurant drugs on people. You just know, like you can tell like who is who. Like I can tell. I'm like, if you will get up and still go to work the next day in your greasy clothes, you are doing restaurant drugs. Like for me, when I got off of work, I had to go like wash the restaurant off. But some of the really strung out like line cooks, you'd see them in the same shit for 3 days. Like, how are you even still like, oh, you just look gross. But here nor there, right? Here nor there. What it is about is this, right? It is about understanding that there are levels and degrees, right? And there are decisions and there are time frames and there are parts and pieces of you that, there are parts and pieces of me that I don't love. I don't love those. I don't love that history. Like I don't love to talk about that history. But here's the thing. I came out today because somebody needed to hear it, right? Because you're not your story. I am not that story. I am not that crazy ass girl in college. I used to dread. When I first moved back to Farmville, and I would run into people because I kind of like just disappeared from the scene. And some people have not seen me since then. And people just don't have a filter sometimes. They'll say some things. And when I first moved back into the area, I was like, I just hid at Howard because I'm like, I don't want to constantly bump into somebody who's the last time they saw me is when we were doing a 3-day binger. But or not even a 3-day binge, like a 2-day, like we stayed up till 2:00 talking to each other or something bullshit like that. But I didn't, and here's why, right? It's not who you were then, it's who you are now. And the thing is though, is that I would see these people, Heather, and they were the same person that I saw. They're in the exact same place, and that's the point is, right? They're in the exact same place that they're frozen in 20 years ago. I told Red when we came back here, I was like, I don't know that I can go out and see these people. He's like, and he said that it's not about. I was like, it's not about me. It's not about me. But when I talk about making my hippie heart happy, it broke my hippie heart, right? It gave me hippie heartbreak. It gave me hippie heartbreak because here's the thing. I love those people. I talk to those people, but when I see those people who I partied with 20 years ago, because even when I partied with them 20 years ago, they were important people. They were still people, right? They have thoughts and aspirations and dreams, and we talked about those things, right? You're up till 3 a.m. on a cocaine bender. You learn a lot about people. So I spent a lot of time, especially in a bar and a restaurant behind the bar, a little small town. It's the same characters, right? It's just the sequel. It's just you see the story 10 years down the line, and it breaks my hippie heart. And I'm going to call Mel out. Mel, are you still here? Say yes or no in the comments. And I'm gonna talk about this for a second. I'm not going to get deep, but I'm going to say some things. It breaks my hippie heart to see people who I was in the same place with stay there. And I'm like, I'm proud of myself. I'm like, how are y'all still here, right? And then you realize, right? Then you realize I wasn't a good enough influence to bring that person along for the ride. Then you start thinking, was it my job? But I get very empathetic and I pick up all of that, like down in the gutter energy. I pick up all of that down in the gutter energy. Now, I'm not going to tell you Mel's story. Mel can tell her own story. Mel, who's on here, Mel Faircloth, she went to high school with my son. I've known Mel since before she could drive a car. She was at Evan's 16th birthday and she was not 16 yet. So for almost half her life, I have known her. I always knew that she had big dreams and big aspirations, and she had something inside of her that was going to be important to the world. She joined the military. It's like, yes, she's getting the hell out of Farmville. Like I would kept up with how you keep up with your kids' friends. And I really was like, I was rooting hard. Then I heard some things. I'd moved away. I heard some things through the grapevine. I always put Mel in my prayers and my good vibe list. I always held her in love and light. Like I always knew that she had this something about her, right? And she has a story of coming off of some bad things, utilizing cannabis, utilizing meditation, breath work. She is pulling herself out. She just got a tiny house. She's in a good relationship. She is making her way. And I'm here to tell you exactly what it is, right? It's not who you were then, it's who you are now. And that's why it hurt me. That's why as an empath, it was hard for me to go out and be around people. And it wasn't about them telling stories on me because I know that I've outgrown that, right? I know that I've outgrown that. And even if it's embarrassing or like, a little like off-putting when somebody walks up and says some like craziness that you did back in the day, I am very good about like taking it like, yes, that was me back in the day. It's not who I am now. Like, oh, you're not drinking. I'm like, no, I haven't drank for a while. Oh, like, yeah. I was like, well, at some point you just have to stop doing things that no longer serve you. And then I look like I'm a preacher. And I'm like, of all the things, like I look like the Sunday school teacher. Like I'm not. Like I'm cool, but like you know what I'm saying, right? And that is the problem, right? It's not about who you were then. It's about who you are now. And if you are somebody who's right now is your then, right? If right now you are maybe you like the edibles, right? But you still are holding on to some of those demons. Because I feel like I have some people who are still holding on to some of those demons. I've come in contact in the last couple of months, and there's just been like things that like tugged at me. And I did not know we were going here today. I did not know this was coming up today. I had no idea. I'm gonna tell you what we're talking about. We were going to talk about in a second. I don't know why this came out today. I don't know why on Wake and Bake this is not at all what I anticipated talking about, but I feel like there are people who are still struggling with some of those demons, who are still trying to give up the ghost on some of those things. And maybe you like the edibles, but the edibles are trying to get you to like be able to sleep from that 3-day, whatever it is. I'm going to tell you that you are stronger than that bullshit. right? I have a brother who was spending 28 years in the state penitentiary in Sussex, Virginia, because he became addicted to opioids. He got hurt at work, started taking pain pills, fentanyl patches after surgeries, and just was got terrible, terrible, terrible. Um, he's got a terrible addiction problem, and it escalated into heroin, and it escalated into robbing people to be able to feed his addiction whenever the family stopped getting robbed. Right? We started like, we're calling the police too. He kind of ran all the things, all the terrible things you can't imagine. So it's extra hard for me, right? It's extra hard for me to see people struggling with addiction. And I don't believe that cannabis is an addiction. I believe that it is medicine. I do not believe it is the same thing at all. So you pull those bastards out, deal with them, move on. It's not easy, but us here have your back. Reach out. Yes, I know. And what I'm going to tell you is, um, it kills me. It kills me to watch addiction take over. I do not hate the addict. I hate the addiction. It is a disease. It is awful. It is strangling. It's strangling. But there are so many people who want to look at that crackhead, look at this, look at that, right? There's a reason why. There's a story behind every crackhead, right? There is trauma behind every addict. There is. There just is. And I am not saying that I'm not making excuses, right? Because I know for a fact that you can be stronger than anything. You have to be willing to do the work to do it, right? You have to be willing to do that. But when I came home, it was hard for me to be able to not try to not want to get. I'm a fixer, right? So I've had to learn how to bless and release. And part of the things that I am weaving into my sweet treats is anyone who is battling something stronger than they think that they are, and they need help with it, to give them the strength to make better choices, to give them the strength to separate themselves from the people who bring them down. And here's the thing, though. People are, well, hang out with this person. Like, here's the thing, but you are part of the problem, right? You are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Look around in your circle, right? Look around. Do you want to be the sum of those 5 people? If not, find yourself 5 better people. If you're struggling, stay meditating in the marketplace. Stay in the Grateful Fed community. Reach out. That was what Testimony Tuesday or Take a Penny, Leave a Penny. Like, hey, and I'm telling y'all right now, don't start this BS because I have to approve posts. We're not doing GoFundMe's. We're not sending people money. That is not what we're talking about, right? What I say is all the time is, you can offer love and light, and you can hold space, and we're raising the vibration of the collective. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about needing a friend to help lift you up and to be strong when you are weak. People who can help pull you into a meditation, and who can help you to do breath work, and who can help you find resources. If maybe they can help you find resources, like here's a rehab program, whatever it may be. Now, those, it may just be because you're in chronic pain, right? It's depression, it's anxiety, it's feeling all alone in it, right? I really want to start doing some focused groups on, like, handling chronic pain with cannabis, and doing some private lesson classes and private group classes on, like, how we can, like, utilize meditation, breath work, light energy, as well as our cannabis and tincture and things like that. And we can get some focus groups so that I can really see what's working as a whole for insomnia. What I can find is what's working as a whole for those of you who are dealing with chronic pain. What I can find as a whole for you who are dealing with all of that. My whole circle had to change. Hated leaving them behind, but they were always in my heart. Now if they come for help, I'm strong enough to help them pull them through. Yes, so that's what I'm saying, right? This is a place, like Heather just said, right? Heather said, this is what I heard. Heather had to put her oxygen mask on before she could help those other people on that plane that's going down. Right? She can't help them if she can't breathe. So she had to breathe. And here's the thing. You didn't leave them behind, Heather. You didn't leave them behind. You just grew in different ways. And you just did not stay in that nonsense. And that's amazing that you didn't do that. But if you're interested in those kind of opportunities where we can work together, And what we might find is there are other methods and technologies and modalities to help with these problems that we are curing through the endocannabinoids and the cannabis system. Now, I do have another weekend, another shopping spree. I did get some new, and it's for creativity, stress relief, and anxiety. So, for those of you who need to drop those shoulders and open up your mind, this is going to be an amazing meditative blend for creativity. Maybe you're a maker or a creator. Maybe you're trying to get some creative answers or kind of like trying to design something. Maybe you're an artist, a songwriter, a musician, a poet. Headband is our new strain. I have a bunch of different strains right now that I'm kind of playing with. So I am going to make a creativity blend, and that is going to be all of the Munchie of the Month boxes are going to be made out of that anti-stress, because it's about getting lucky and finding the, like, your lucky charm. And there's lucky charms involved. So, oh, I love that, Heather. I love that. Heather said, I would love to be a part of anyone's path to success. I love that. Yes, I have headband. I've got the hashberry. I have GDP. We have some Wagyu. We have some LA cakes, and we have some apple fritter. So and I also have some Gorilla Glue, which is going to be some sleepy time stuff coming this weekend. I've got 300 grams of Gorilla Glue coming that I'm super excited about. In the tent right now, we have a big plant, that is called Tangy Berry. So again, we are playing with that's got some different terpenes in it. Super excited about it. But before I get y'all up here today, and before I get on this tangent, all of a sudden I'm like super hot and sweaty. I did not know that was going to come out today, and I didn't mean to, like, hopefully I didn't tell anybody's story they didn't care if I told. Mostly I told my story, and you know, I often wonder, and I often feel like some of my autoimmune disease, and a lot of people who have this autoimmune disease is Latin for dis-ease, which is dis-ease in your body. And it can normally be tracked back to something that's from the emotional body. And I often feel like when I'm working through a lot of my energy and to stay in flow, a lot of the energy blocks come from times in my life when I was not making the best choices. It was alcohol or cocaine or pill induced. And I feel like some of the things that have come up are just moving those things out, because whether we realize it or not, we do hold on to those things. Our segmented stories complete our novel. I love that so much. That is beautiful. And I love that so very much. I'm going to take this off. Okay. Yesterday, I was watching a show on Netflix called Cooked with Cannabis. And it was like a Chopped kind of show. And they would give a theme, and they have 3 rounds to like make an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert using cannabis, and talking about why they're using what in each thing, blah, blah, blah. So interesting. So I made a post yesterday. It was like, hey, if anybody knows how you get on those shows, I would love to be on one of those shows. Now, this is probably how today's topic came up, because I was talking to my husband and somebody else about, like, hey, I'd love to go on that show. You can go on that show. What are you going to do? Right? And I'm like, don't believe your limiting story. I don't believe your limiting bullshit. Like, don't limit my ability to do these things. If there's a will, there's a way. If that girl and that guy and that guy and then that guy and that guy and that girl and that girl and that girl and that girl and all of these people and that old lady, what? If all of these people, right, who are from all over the country can get on these shows, right, then why can't I? There's no difference. Why can't I get on one of those shows, right? Why can't I get on one of them? And so this morning, I'm like, you know what? That would be an amazing thing for the business. It would be amazing for me to go get to be in like a cooking competition and get to do all the things. And if it's something like that, y'all, the amount, I'm gonna tell y'all, I got some things happening. I got a good news. Okay. I got a whole thing going on here. The pantry, the amount of different like strains and butters and oils and sugars and keef salts, and the amount of like, it to me, it's like going into Disneyland to touch it all. Now, if I get on one of these shows, I'm going to warn y'all, because you know me, I'm going to have to, I got to taste it. I got to test it. So probably by round 3, I'm going to be slap fucked up, just being honest. And it's going to be hilarious. But I found it. I found the way. It is called J&S JS Casting, Real People, Real Stories, Real Talent, and they are casting for Cannabis Cooking Show. It says Cannabis Cooking Show now casting chefs for a new cannabis themed competition show from the creator and producer of Chopped and Dismantled. We are looking for passionate, skilled, creative, and competitive professional chefs with cannabis cooking experience to compete in a new cannabis competition. Apply now at jscasting.com. So I'm in the process of applying. So here's what the questions are, and I'm going to talk about this, right? It says, how did you learn to cook? Are you self-taught, restaurant trained, or did you go to culinary school? Filled that out. I said, I grew up in a family of restaurateurs and chefs. I started learning my way around the kitchen when I was 5. I started working in the family-owned businesses at 14 in the kitchen. I spent my entire life feeding others. Now, here's the one that stumped me, and the one that in the past, and the one that if you did not have determination, right, or you didn't have like a will to get things done, I was like, well, I guess I don't qualify, because it says here, biggest accomplishments in the industry. Please list all press, publications, awards, honors, competition wins, etc. I don't have any like press or publications or awards or competition wins, right? But what is my biggest accomplishment in the industry is that I've created a Grateful Fed community. I have created a Grateful Fed community who come together to utilize cannabis as the medicine that they know that it is, and that I can help provide those products to those people and to heal them and help them to heal themselves. That is my biggest accomplishment, and that's the God's honest truth, right? That I'm creating recipes which are delicious, as well as raising the vibration of the Grateful Fed community that I have helped create, that we have created together. That is an accomplishment, and I don't have to win a competition because that's winning. That's winning in itself, right? Please describe your cannabis cooking experience. When did you start cooking with cannabis, and why do you enjoy it? Give us examples of dishes you have made using cannabis. Right now, I don't have a fancy mousse or whatever, but I have made some amazing bites utilizing cannabis. And I am going to showcase the chicken marinade that I do, the hot sauce, all the desserts, and I am going to do this. Now, at the bottom, it says, I have understood the terms of service. They ask for a picture, all the things. I have one of those good pictures with all the filters and stuff. And this is, we're always casting new shows. Want to stay in the loop on our latest casting opportunities? Yes or no? So yes, I'll want that. And here's the thing. I'm going to fill this out and I'm going to submit it today. I'm going to do that this morning while I'm making butter before I go in there and start doing invoices this morning, right? And whether they pick me for this camp competition or not, I have planted the seed. I have taken the step to believe in myself because it's something that I wanted to do, right? Now, if I didn't do this, I know I will never be on. I might never be on a cooking show. I mean, it's one of my like bucket list things, right? And if I want to manifest it, I will, right? But here's the thing, right? I might not ever get on a cooking show. I might not ever compete. I might compete and get my ass kicked and like, what in the world is this redneck shit, Tammy? But here's the thing, right? If I don't fill this out, if I don't take the time to try, then I have fulfilled my prophecy that I will never be on one, right? But at least this way I'm trying. I've planted the seed. They might not pick me for this one. They might pick me for the next one. Or somebody might read this and reach out because they want to try something, right? So what I'm going to tell you is this. And I guess this is how everything kind of comes together today on Wake and Bake Morning. Speaking of which, we're awake. It's time to bake. So if you got it, if you got it, smoke it. Cutting the camera off for a little morning pick me up. Whew. Sorry, y'all. If y'all would have saw what I just did other than hit my pipe, you would have laughed. My bowl. I hate to say pipe. My marijuana bowl. Smoke weed every day. Here's how it combines, right? Sorry. Apparently, that's got a lot of piney in it because it just opened up my bronchodilators for real. Holy. Chrome nets. Whew. Oh my gosh. So did not expect that. Woo! But here's what I'll say how this combines, right? Your story is still being written. If you feel that things are just too much, right? You'll never kick this addiction. You're never going to feel better. You're never going to get what you want. What I want to tell you is if I would have believed that, my story would not be where my story is ever evolving, right? I could have been the same girl that was just like a little party girl and drinking and all the things and living in restaurants and eating pills and popping, snorting wine and drinking a beer and doing all the things. But I decided that my story, that's a chapter. That wasn't the entire, I'm going to put this back up because I love this so much. Our segment is Stories Complete Our Novel, right? I could have positive talk, people, positive talk. Yes. I didn't see anything negative. I didn't know if something negative was going on. Um, I could have my story that could have been my story, right? The tale of a bar hound or a bar bitch, whatever. But that's a chapter of my story, right? That's a chapter of my story. And if in your story right now, because here's the thing, right? I feel like stories, there's always like a villain and a hero, and there's all the good old days. um, you know, I could have that could have been my story, but in every story there's a hero and a villain. And if right now in this moment or so far up to this point, you have been the villain in your very own story, and that's what it's about, right? When you don't talk good to yourself, when you're treating yourself like shit, you are making yourself the villain of your own story, right? Now, I'm an English major and I love writing and I love literature and all the things, right? There was a plot twist. Plot twist. I'm not the villain, I'm the hero. Right? So here's what I'm going to tell you. You are the author. If your story is not going like you want it to go right now, if the story of your life, right, is not the story that you want to be told about you, if that's not the story in the Akashic records that you want, like this is the soul and this is what they did. If you don't like how that story's being told, then you have the pen in your hands. You can change your story at any moment. Attitude determines altitude. I love it. I love it, right? But you can change the story. You can start writing that story. You can't go back and erase all of those pages. I can't. I can't go back, right? Don't look that way. I can't fix that. I can't change that. I can't erase that. But all of that made me this. And this is going to make me going forward what I want to be. I can change that story. I can take and I can write why I did that. I can figure out the reason for that when I start writing, when I continue with the plot twist. Oh, so that's why I had to go through that. Because next time it happens, right, you don't have to have 2x4 therapy. You can make a better choice. I love this, right? Let's be 100% honest. A lot of my friends have died due to addiction. If you're listening today, I want you to choose to live starting today. Exactly. 100%, right? And that's the thing. A lot of y'all are not even writing your story, you're writing your obituary, right? If you are still riding that addiction train into heavy drugs and you are doing things that if you're on the Facebook and every other day it's like, oh my God, my life is falling apart, right? I want you to stop and take a breath. Stop telling yourself that story. Start telling yourself that every shitty thing that's going on in the world right now for you is in your freaking favor because it needs to stop you from whatever's happening. And I know there's those of you out there, I can feel it. And I'm not a preacher. I'm not a preacher. But what I am is somebody who, don't think that I'm sitting up here holier than thou. I've never been there, right? Right? Don't think that I've never been there. I decided to write myself as the hero of my story, not as the villain. I decided to write my story and not my obituary, right? I realized I'm a novel. I'm not a short story. I'm a novel. I'm an epic novel, right? I want you to say it in the comments, right? Say it in the comments. I'm an epic novel. I am the hero of my own story. Like a card needs to be pulled today just to clear some big energy, right? Big energy. And we're going to get a message and get some things to go with this. But I want you all to know that I believe in you, right? And changing your story. And when I say like start writing your story differently, I get it, right? It is not as easy as saying, okay, Tammy's a hero. I get that, right? But I'm telling you right now, attitude determines altitude. I put part of my story out today. I didn't think I would ever go public, but someone needs to know they are not alone. Yes, someone does need to know that. And that's why I told my story today. Like, I don't like to tell that part of me, right? But a lot of people see me because I was never someone who you would have thought was, unless you party with me, you wouldn't really know I was a party girl. Like, I have people all the time that are my friends who are in recovery, who are learning addiction issue things, like how to deal with addiction and stuff. And they're like, I had no idea. I had no idea, right? I have no idea. Thank you, Kim. I appreciate that. I just know that I've lost family members and friends to it. And it started with this. And I guess this is so interesting how this cooking show brought this message out. I don't even get how it happened, but it was about yesterday when we were watching it. One of the people that my grower that had the headband that brought it over, we were talking or whatever, we were watching it. And, like, how you get on this? You know how to get on stuff. And I was like, here's the thing, like, oh, I can, like, they're on there. Why can't I? And then my husband was talking about wanting to fish. He really wants to start doing tournaments and things like that. And he is the world's worst. And I love him. And I'm not trying to, he's the world's worst on beating himself up and not believing that anything's possible, right? He is very much, that's just not real. I'm a realist. I'm like, yeah, but your ability to be a realist, if you don't try, I won't win that tournament. You're right. If you sit at home on Saturday and bitch about how you'll never win a fishing tournament, guess what? You are 100% correct, my love. You will never win a fishing tournament at your age because you're sitting in a recliner at the house. Well, my boat's not good enough. It doesn't matter. Then you work on it. You go out, you put your boat in there. It's not the prettiest boat, but who's ever seen like the guy with like the Jay Clampett boat roll up with the winner? Fish don't give a shit what kind of boat you're in. All you have to do is try. And here's the thing, like I have egg on my face all the time. I'm like, oh, I'll get stoned to the bone. I will like medicate. I will get my creative brain open. I will start working on something. I'm going to do this. It is amazing, right? And it's just, I'm like, he's like, well, you said you would. I was like, yeah, it was a high moment, but I was like, I get that. I'm not embarrassed to say it out loud because it might be a seed that needs to be planted for somebody else. Like I just put myself out there and I'm like, it is what it is. Good, the bad, the ugly. People are going to love you for you and see you as a whole human being. And, I know that it's not everybody. I know that that vulnerability it comes with time, right? And if you would have asked me to do that 10 years ago, I would not have done it. 5 years ago, I would not have done it. 2 years ago, I would not have done it. But today, I know that it is my soul's contract to be as authentic as I can because somebody needs to see themselves in me. Somebody needs to hear something in this group that is going to help them not to make those same decisions or to maybe make that decision, but in a different way to get to where they need to be. So, yeah, if you don't put yourself out there, you're never going to know, right? People are like, I can't quit doing all these things. I've tried before. Try again. Right? My brother said, I can't do it. I've been on this stuff for so long. I'm like, and you're right. If you keep telling yourself that because you don't want to quit. But when the fear of what you're doing, right? The fear of what you're doing, it's going to kill you. And that fear gets bigger than the change, right? The change has to be less scary than the same. Because when the same, and people know, for me, it's like, I wanted to buy a house one day, I'm like, I need to save some money. And the fear of like always renting, and here I am renting. I'm like, but it is what it is. It's still a lesson. I'm going to buy, I've already owned a house. I'm just trying to find the right place right now. And that's what happens though, right? With this, I started second guessing things. I started looking at all my failures versus all my wins. When I started filling this out, I got to that spot. That's where I stopped, was the accolades, right? Was the accolades. And I was going to come here today, and the story was going to be about this. It's going to be about help me figure out what to write in this, right? Help me to know what to write in this and not to give up on my dreams, because a lot of people get to a job application, and job application just came in, right? They get to like the one thing and it says you have to have this, like a PhD or commensurate experience, and you don't give and you're like, I could do this job, but I don't have a PhD, but you have commensurate experience, but you don't believe in yourself enough to be able to describe your commensurate experience, or you don't feel like you have imposter syndrome and this is way too good for you. And that's what stopped me in the past from even looking this stuff up. I'm like, I will never get on one of these things. And I watched it yesterday, and it was like, it was the time for me to try, and I'm going to fill this out, right? So it might have been like the time for me to try, but this might not even be the show I go on. I might have never gone on another show ever, but I took the leap to try, right? Yeah, it is what it is. It's like you keep moving on, you see what happens. I feel like somebody has really, 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 really anxious stomach energy right now. Maybe it's me from coffee, but I feel like it's somebody else's. Calling in all my angels, guides, and helpers, all of the spirit team that helps guides me to make me a clear and perfect channel, to give me the perfect message for the group watching this morning. Help that person who needs that help. Solidify that message that needs to be solidified. I don't know. Okay. Interesting. And I love it. It comes up a lot for us, and it's pink opal. Be kind to yourself, because that's the thing, right? We talk about writing your story and being the author of your own story. You're making yourself the hero or the villain. Be kind to yourself, right? And it says, cut yourself some slack. The way you talk to yourself can either lift you up or tear you down. So be mindful of your internal dialogue. Honor yourself. Be your own, can't make this shit up, as Heather says. Be your own cheerleader. Forgive yourself and remain your own best friend through the ups and downs of life. Make a conscious shift to speak to yourself with more compassion, empathy, and kindness, right? Give yourself the love that the world might not be giving you, because that's what's going to change you from being the villain to the hero. All we need is love, right? All you need is love. Love is all you need, right? That's what just came in. And it's because you need to love yourself. You need to turn that love of whatever that substance is, right? You need to love yourself. Treat yourself as well as you would treat others, or the way you'd expect others to treat you. It all starts with your own inner voice. And that's the story I'm talking about, right? That's the story you keep telling yourself. By showing yourself sensitivity, understanding, and gentleness, you can learn to be kinder and more compassionate towards others as well, right? And I'm going to tell y'all, when I first left the lifestyle, right, and I went back in and I was in that holier than thou stage that I healed, I'm not doing that. I've got a job. I'm making good money. I'm drinking my wine out here, being very, very stuck up. I don't do cocaine anymore, but I smoke a little pot. I'm better than you, right? I wasn't treating those people that were there with kindness. When I came back healed, right? When I came back and knew how to give people to do things from a heart space, to come from love energy and not ego, personality body, and right. That's when my little hippie heart broke, when I saw those people, because I had so much love for those people. And I wanted them to love themselves the way that I loved myself. Because here's the thing, you can't truly heal without that love energy, that heart energy. That is step one in the addiction breaking process. That is step one in the healing process. If you are trying to heal insomnia, if you are trying to heal pain, if you are trying to heal, then that's what I'm going to tell you right now is where it needs to come from. Radiate that heart energy. Radiate that love energy throughout your body, right? Send love to the area that hurts and watch how it feels, right? And those people that are hurting, send them love. Send them that love energy. Treat others as well as you would treat others the way you expect others to treat you. It all starts with your own inner voice. By showing yourself sensitivity, understanding, and gentleness, you can learn to be kinder and more compassionate towards others as well. And that's what it's all about, right? It's about being able to love, to have so much love inside that you're full of love and that you radiate it out to others. And that's what I talk about, the power of one. Sometimes the power of one, the one person that you can help one person every day, even if that one person is just yourself, because you can't help others unless you have your oxygen mask on. So today, go in and start with just loving yourself. Love yourself. Core questions, right? How do you talk to yourself? And that's a good journal today. If you're trying to start this process, write down, how do I talk to myself? And that's what I encourage you to do. Write down 10 things you like about yourself. 10 things that you love about yourself. And I want you to sit and do that until you can do that. Then I want you to take that list. I want you to look at it in the mirror and look yourself in the eye and say that. I love your eyes. I love your lips. I love the fact that you forgive others easily. I love your generosity. Whatever it is, look at yourself and say it to the camera or say it to the mirror and mean it. 100% mean it. Would you speak to others the way you speak to yourself? Would you tell me every time I said a word wrong? Every time I fumbled over a word, would you comment, "Oh my God, you're so stupid. Oh my God, what's wrong with you? You can't talk." Would you do that? But I guarantee you, when you say things wrong or you miss over your words, your internal dialogue is, "God, you're so fucking stupid. What the fuck's wrong with you? Don't be stupid. Don't be doing that. You talk that shit to yourself. Would you talk it to me? Y'all don't, and I do it all the time. So speak to yourself the way you would speak to others. If you would stop yourself, right? If you were in a grocery store and there was someone acting a fool, and you would say bless their heart, bless their heart. They got some troubles. Let me be kind. Do that for you. Say, bless my heart. I got some troubles. I'm gonna be kind to myself today, right? Do it. And again, just for today. Then tomorrow, get up and do it just for today. I'm not asking you to change your entire life. It's not big like that. It's just every day. Make a conscious effort just for today. Just for today. Would you treat others the way you treat yourself? Simple as that. Would you treat others the way you treat yourself? Our crystal affirmation. I honor myself. I want y'all to type that and affirm that for me in the comments right now. I honor myself. Now, when you're doing affirmations, I know that y'all hear me say it with ferocity. That's because the more energy you put into something, it's the more it's returned to you. So when I'm trying to say my affirmations in the morning, I am legitimately in my shower at the top of my lungs. I am worthy. The world is a better place because I am here. Money flows to me in both expected and not expected ways. I honor myself, and I say it big and I say it bold because I want it to stick. And I want to put that good love energy, that good, positive, get it back energy into the universe. And I'm going to encourage you to do the same thing. Love it. Heather honors herself. Dennis honors himself. I love it. I love it. I honor myself. I hope y'all will honor yourself. Today, write down, see, this one gives you off the hook. So the book says, write down 3 things you love about yourself and read them aloud in the morning and night. And it's funny that it tells you to do that because I hadn't read ahead. So I was like, oh, okay. So pink opal today, maybe put some in your pocket if you need to be kinder to yourself. I know a place you can get some pink opal if you need some pink opal. That's going to be My Mystical Crystals. Let me know. I will hook you up with them if you need some pink opal. And that's kind of what I do is I get these. I'm like, okay, so the pink opal says be kind to myself. If I'm kind of being a butthole to myself and I need a reminder of that, that's kind of what I'll use as a little talisman, right? I'll throw a little pink opal around. I'll put it somewhere I can see it. And it reminds me it reminds me that I need to take that lesson and practice what I preach. So on that note, y'all, it's been almost an hour and 10 minutes. It is not, I wanted to be quick today. I was talking about this little cooking show. I was going to get off. I had no idea, but it is what it is. We can't control it. It's what, I'm not going to be mad at myself. It's what happens, right? It's 10:10 on the dot, which tells me something. I look down, you'll know it's angel numbers. Like, you did exactly what you were supposed to do, girlfriend. We got this Pisces new moon coming on the 3rd, which is Wednesday. Tomorrow we will not be live, but we will be live on that bong hit just that coffee. Something just like something just kicked in. Holy moly. Woohoo! Okay. So love you with my whole heart. I really do. I love you all with my whole heart. Just be advised, if you have placed an order and you have filled out the order form, I am invoicing this morning. You can always add more. I can confirm your card if it's not exactly what you want. You can always add more to it. No big deal. I can get it all put together. Know that once your order is paid for, I have 48 hours to fill that order. I am working on a specialty catering order this morning of a really fancy ass cake. I'm super excited about going in there and getting my hands in. I'm going to get my energy right. I'm going to meditate before I do that. I'm doing 2 of these this week, one today for the person who wants it, and then one on Friday for his friend for a birthday gift. He wants one first to see how good it is. So I am super excited to work on that today. I will be shipping out tomorrow. Everybody's stuff, unless you ordered it this weekend, is out the door. You on the way. Pineapple upside down cakes were a big treat. We do have, just so you know, we do have Munchie of the Month is opened up. So go grab that. It's on just the request form. So if you want to grab your 2222 Munchie of the Month box this month, it's going to be the Luck of the Irish. I've got lots of inserts that are super fun. Plus the treat is delicious. It's going to be strong. It's going to be, you don't want to miss it. So grab your Munchie of the Month box. Don't forget, if you grab that, anything else you add on to that order, you'll get 10% off of. So you get that 10% off order every month with the Munchie of the Month purchase. And starting probably in April is when we'll start those classes with like the fibromyalgia or the RA. We're going to really dive in to what it is you want. If you have specific things that you would like to do classes on as far as what we're working with cannabis, like if you want like terpenes or you want CBD or you want endocannabinoid or you want products that are going to help get you there or other like meditative practices, whatever it is, let me know. I'll be glad to help you out with that. We'll go from there. All right. On that note, I love you all with my whole heart too. I'm putting that up here because I love that so much. I will be around today invoicing out all the things. As always, peace, love, and feast, and stay elevated, my friends. I will talk to y'all soon.